Hello, this is Marto Limited. If you're asking why the audio sounds a bit off, it's because I've got a new computer. That's also why the date's off and why Sudan is a country. And why the UK still owns that. So, yeah. So, other than having to restart the entire thing, so some things have sort of stayed the same. The Socialist Armed Forces no longer exist in Hatay. The Socialist Republic of Turkey exists, but they haven't got their leader yet, sadly enough. However, they are getting their state media. Kurdistan still exists. Greeks still exist, although they haven't created their own version of the NKVD yet. But when I've divided Turkey, they actually did give the Greek regions to the region that's supposed to go to Greece, so that's good. I had to invade Turkey this time, sadly. Not Yugoslavia though. Also, East Germany is still an occupied zone under Vasily Sokolovsky. Need to get that done with, lad. So I tried to get us around the same time. Originally, it was supposed to be I want to say it was supposed to be October 8th. I think other than me briefly going off on all again, it's now October 16th. Nothing major happened. Malaku slightly dead. Long live the Republic of Malaku, who may be forever independent. Malaya is still in a state of somewhat civil war. My guy Chim Peng. There was an attempted coup in Afghanistan. That's different than an attempted coup in Indonesia itself. Oh, and China formed earlier on than expected. So that's a thing. Alright. Now, I don't know what the white noise is for. Probably just some weird thing coming from my voice. Let's I'm not entirely sure where I left up on, so I did these two just in case. Now that we have the evidence indicating for Langer communist guilt, we can strike and purge for a series of trials. So Langer desert, purge to Langer dissenters, and we got the nuclear bomb. Nuclear power, both weaponized and future, will be one of the deciding factors in the current struggle for society. We cannot afford to remain behind the Americans in this field. So we can either deport the Jehovah's Witnesses or hold the Babylonian session. Let's deport the Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses are strange people and should not be publicly worshipped but atheistic in an atheistic state. Those individuals will be rounded up and deported. They can worship their Jehovah alone. Operation Vulture. The US is now involved in the Vietnam War in the early 50s, which the Vietnam War started in 1955, makes some level of sense, or at least the Second Indo-Chinese War. The United States military announced initiation of combat operations against anti-French Viet Minh forces in French Indochina. American bombers from nearby airfields are targeting key Viet Minh strongpoints as other combat units move into the country. The United States believes that the Viet Minh represent a major threat to the regional security and safety of the Vietnamese people. The French government welcomes support and claims that it would restore security in Vietnam and be an honorable resolution. Conflict, the global response is expected to be especially negative from the post-colonial states, who will see the action as the United States propping up European imperialism. Forward to timer. Since this is a special event, so it's going to be another hour long one for my return back and for a Happy New Year, I guess. I'm planning to do a comic reading tomorrow. Hope to God that I get it done. I don't know if I will, though. Pray to God I will. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Let's roll! Got a hybrid palm rocket. Get the Vostok. Operation North. The Soviet Union is accused of deploying thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses from the Baltic and other Eastern European areas to Siberia. Reports indicate the Ministry of State Security recently carried out decrees of the deportation and confiscation of properties. The number of Jehovah's Witnesses are said to be in the thousands. The Jehovah's Witnesses have long run afoul of the Soviet authorities by refusing to participate in state functions, including servicing in the military. For many Soviet officials, these religious beliefs represent a direct challenge to the state and that had been rooted out before it spreads to other populations. This action will likely be to garner some international criticism over religious persecution. Unfortunate. Hold the Pavlovian session. Means to spark the interest in science and development in the USSR or Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. This session will only advance our development into the world. You're getting portable AA. You're also putting Guzandino to state military. You're creating Plan 17. You're investing in lead mines. You're encouraging secular values. You're doing Soviet technological aid. You're intensifying literacy campaigns. You're creating a ground force. You're doing the first 5-year plan. You're doing anti-air. And you're creating the Stalin Ali. You finished that. Now you're promoting promote Spanish Civil War veterans. So you're here. All right. That's been done. Now we just need to wait till 9:52. Done all that stuff. Done all this stuff. I guess heavy development, industry development. While we have a large industrial center across our nation, our capacity to produce heavy equipment and machinery still lags behind the Western powerhouse. Like the US, really a concerted effort to develop our industry will change that. Are you into spying on the US? establishment of Mashid. Wait, they have a focus tree? I didn't know that. Qatar has a focus tree. The government of Qatar announced the establishment of the Mashid today. This settlement is set up next to a main oil facility. This means that the industrial center of rapid growing oil industry of the country. It will be the main tanker terminal for Qatar and will be administered by the petroleum company. The government hopes this new industrial city will help growth in the country as it also locates near working class neighborhoods of the country, but close proximity to aid in job creation and career development in the city of Qatar. Interesting. Goods. Does it doesn't have a focus tree? No, it does not. Sudan does not have a focus tree. China is now the People's Republic of China. I think that happened last time, so I think I said it before. Could have not. I don't even try to remember. But hey ho. The Zhangguagong Chandong Dang is now in charge of Mao Zedong. This starting the private company. You're employing Soviet T-34s, you're modernizing party imagery, you're creating a domestic fighter development, you're doing propaganda, you're getting more planes, you're rejecting socialist realism, you're establishing collectives, you're creating political commissars, you don't exist yet, you're organizing the ninth party of the Komunistka Strana Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovak Communist Party. You're expanding to Polish Marines. You're establishing the Hauptverwaltung Sea Police. Naval Police, basically, yeah. Alright, in developing the industry after the Great Patriotic War, there are several choices for state planning. At prior provide, we could build up the industry of the USSR, as the Soviet Union, providing rain to state or industry could remain the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, providing more jobs for ethnic Russians. New unexpected alternatives emerged, moved heavily into Central Asia, either Kazakh SSR or Tajik SSR, but both of whom are open space and resources. Where shall our industry go? Build up industry in Ukrainian SSR. No, not there yet. We can't still do anything from you. Damn it. Oof. Invest in the Baltics. The Baltic region suffered much in the past few decades, being assimilated to the Soviet Union less than a few years ago. These before being run over by the German war machine, then bearing the effect of Scott's F4C. Investing in the area will only do good. They're fighting the Turkish Revolution Youth League. You're buying MiGs. You're igniting the Greek patriotism. I think that's part of the no, ban Turkish education. That's what he did. You're expanding to Toronto University. You're encouraging state atheism. You're embracing state atheism. You're creating the Organizacja Pioneer-Leo, or the Pioneer Organization. You're creating an anti-air initiative. You're embracing Soviet air doctrine. You're opening the WZ. And you're seeking help from Soviet naval advisors. Yeah, operations. Oh, I got the UN to do something. A new UN Nations has been called. We check United Nations. Okay. Okay. Collate. No. Get urban planning. Aid Ukrainian reconstruction. Ukraine in particular is hit hard by the Nazi dogs. During their brief occupation, much of the infrastructure destroyed. A large effort will need to be made to restore it. It must have been a terrible spy. Well, two things that the UN has happened at once. Israel is now part of the United Nations, but the Iranian nations will not be a fan of that. Today, the state of Israel has officially been introduced into the United Nations, decided upon to intense vote, showing 37 to 12 citizens. Sealing the fragile thing of this Jewish nation's independence is now at least, with Israel showing some degree of support by the UN and partition plan. It is anyone's guess if peace will be achieved, but no doubt many believe this to be the first step in a series of many, as the Western world begins to establish ties and show their support with infant state. Israel or its Arab neighbors are still reeling from their previous failures to eliminate Israel. The revived Jewish state has now left its first modern mark in history. Condemning the condemnation of French human rights violations vetoed. A recent resolution condemning the French human rights violations was vetoed by a permanent United Nations Security Council member. The veto is being criticized by some representatives who noted the veto ended any hopes of completing a debate over the resolution, working to achieve a consensus. Others are criticizing the veto being a political means to protect family states. However, some nations expressed support for the veto, seeing the initiative resolution as being politically motivated from the start. This made it not only inevitable but the right decision, regardless the resolution is effectively dead. Interesting. If it is, I would have 100% won that. The end of Spanish isolation. With the signing of the Pact of Madrid, the Spanish state has ended its period of isolation. In a treaty signed by Spain, the United States, and the United States will give Spain money to help improve their military and their economy. In return, the U.S. aid to Spain will agree to allow the U.S. to land and air naval bases in Spanish territory. This new treaty ended a period of Spanish history since the end of World War II that was marked as Spanish isolation and being hated by most countries for being fascist and pro-Nazi Germany and pro-Axis powers, which is partially true. The pact is seeing new beginnings for Spain and a sign that the war is coming around to view Spain in a more positive light. Excellent. Not doing anything there. What's my friends doing? Copying AK-47s. You're enforced socialist realism. You're commencing reconstructions. You're establishing the creative unions. You're empowering people's committees. You're creating state atheism. You're deploying cadres to the fields. You're rebuilding AA infrastructure. You're liquidating opposing political parties. You're merging combat organizations, and you're protecting the ethnic minorities. I swear this happened before. Senate girl, the hair and all that. Yeah, I think this happened. I swear it was in the 1950s. It was 9th of October that ended. If not, then I completely got the entire thing wrong. You're preparing desert warfare, and you're making make your own NKVD, what's called the National People's Defense Society, which in Turkish would be, let me get the translate out. Turkish. The European Turkish, well, National or People's Defense Society in Turkish. That doesn't matter. In Turkish, the National People's Defense Society would be translated as the Ulusal Halk Savunma Derneği. It's a type of G with a U above it. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. Like G or G. Probably not G. G. Maybe it's a sound. Derneği. I don't know. In translation, it means the also would be classed as the UHSD or OSC. Cool. Now, for a more important thing, rebuilding Stalingrad. Stalingrad is the home of the grave of many heroes of the Soviet Union, and site of one of the finest moments of the Great Patriotic War. However, all that doesn't change the devastation it saw during the battle for it, and we need to restart its industries. You're establishing Balkan embassies. You're still doing the things you're doing. So nothing changed there. You're doing the two-year plan. still haven't actually formed your country yet. You're getting comrades in the east. I'm going to be watching over them on their opinions of the Korean War. If they're going to say condemn South Korea, I'm going to make sure they do limited intervention. Hey, do you have anything linked to the... No, you have an uprising then, but past that you don't have anything. Do you have anything linked with North Korea? Probably not. There's a choice where you could just abandon your own nation's streams, which I've got to cut down immediately if that happens, which I'll be watching you like a hawk afterwards. I'm pretty sure none of you have anything linked with North Korea other than surprisingly the Greeks, which is a thing. I think some of you can do something with North Korea. No, what there was. Nothing with you. Nothing with you. Nothing with you. Nothing with you. And I don't think I see anything with you, so no. You plus you plus you plus you. Menzies and the coalition re-elected. That's what I think. Prime Minister Bob Menzies has secretly led the coalition to a second straight election victory, with the coalition also taking 6 seats in the Senate, finally giving it the majority control of both parliaments. As the federal Communist president of many Western nations, Menzies sought to ban Australian Communist Party through legislation. Surprisingly, the leader of the opposition, former Prime Minister Ben Chifley, let the bill pass after a red raft being shut down by the High Court months after the failed attempt. Menzies pushed through months after the failed attempt through the Commonwealth Bank Bill, aiming to establish a Commonwealth Bank Board, and Labour believed would fill the private banking interests. Failing to pass through the Senate, Menzies saw opportunity to call a double dissolution. A risky decision, given the election could have backfired back towards another Labour government. It didn't, and Menzies' gamble had paid off, fighting back against the communist threat. Repair mining pits. By repairing mining pits, an overall industry will increase our metal exploit production. Rest in peace.
Готов выдвигаться.
You go in here. There's Indochina, and then there's nothing else. That war is going on. Mampai triumphed in Israeli elections. In the second election since its founding, the Israeli Workers' Party of the Land of Israel, Mapai, celebrates the re-election of David Ben-Gvir to parliament, following the 37% in the polls. A new government on the second Ben-Gvir cabinet has formed with the support of Mezerachi Paul Hazmirachi, Gugat Yisrael, and Pauli Agudat Yisrael, as well as the Democratic List for Israeli Arabs, Progress and Work in Agriculture and Development, known to the world as the founding father. Israel Ben-Gvir, along with Mapai, is celebrated for introducing nationwide housing and economic reforms in the efforts to give Jewish people the wake of a Holocaust. Now, with Mapai's power seemingly solidified once again, it appears Ben-Gvir's plans to go further development of the state of Israel, including the construction of a national water carrier aqueduct, as well as further settlement of Jews in the Negev, are but assured. Mazel tov, Ben-Gvir. Leader of the opposition passes away. The Australian opposition in this case. Tragic news developed in Australia's capital city. Joseph Bennett Chifley, the current leader of the opposition and former Prime Minister, has died suddenly of a heart attack in his hotel room in Canberra at the age of 65 years old. The former engine driver had a successful political career, rising to a prominent star within the trade union providing movement. To become the former MP, James Scullins, Minister of Defence, for less than a year. He would then wait 9 years until 1940 before being re-elected to the House of Representatives, once qualifying himself as Treasurer underneath John Kirsten. Then, before or soon becoming Prime Minister of his own right. Even throughout the Second World War, he made numerous legislative achievements and introduced of Australia's first homemade car, the Holden 48-215 S Spectaculation, has led many to believe H.B. Everett will succeed as party leader. It's rumored he will be buried in Bathurst Cemetery with a number of the light on the hill fades ever so slightly today. That's happened. Still, we can't do the party Congress because it's still not 92 yet. Nebbit. Increased cement production. Cement is a vital material in the construction of all kinds of things, from bridges to roads and buildings to fortifications. We need to have more of it. Your structuring tourist mountain airfields, your merged news organizations with the Cadro, your referring to the Soviets, the Formosa Resolution. The United States passes a joint resolution called the Formosa Resolution. It states the President has the authority as his discretion to deploy United States military to secure and protect Formosa, Taiwan, and its surrounding islands in response to any armed attack by communists. The resolution is being celebrated across Taiwan and its people has long felt threat of mainland communist attack. The Chinese government pledged to remain steadfast in its defiance of the communists and thanked America for spending with it forceful democratic China. The People's Republic of China condemned the resolution as the first step of America trying to deter promotion into a colony and imperial base. To attack the revolution, many Americans support the revolution by demonstrating their commitment to the United States to defend the global community from communism. Interesting. Albania is creating an army. You're strengthening the Demetrius Pioneer Organization. It's a youth group after Georgy Dimitrov, which was assassinated by the Soviets. You're suppressing the Kazan uprising. You're cracking down on non-orthodox religions. You're funding heavy industry investments with agricultural profits. You're reforming the criminal code. You're doing coastal defenses. You're rehabilitating Wehrmacht officers. Get you. And that. Rebuild the Ukrainian agriculture, but fascists also ruined the region's farms and food processing industries when they invaded. Shipping much of the goods and supplies back to their homeland, our people are already rationing food, so we need to get the breadbasket of West Russia up and running again. I should get some equipment. We have no idea what they're doing, but we do know that probably something to do with France or Japan or Scandinavia. Agriculture done. Utilize German rocketry knowledge. When we swept through Germany, end of the Great Federal War, 5 years ago, we captured many prominent German fighters and once now a few highly skilled rocket engineers. It is by putting themselves to work we can advance our knowledge. You're reforming the officer corps. You're rebooting machinery, or retooling machinery. You're beginning a show trial. You're trying to connect Eastern Bloc railroads. You're establishing workers' councils. You're destroying traditional villages. You're persecuting landowners. You're expanding Madura's shipyard. You're creating ad hoc hospitals, cheap hospitals basically for the injured nation. You're emphasizing planetary solidarity, and you're constructing the quasi-Mohammed bunker network.
Echo, echo. Echo, echo. Echo, echo. If you can still hear me, that's a good thing, right? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I'm sorry for if the audio was terrible for the first half of this video. It seems my recording device wasn't even working. So for the last 25-ish minutes you can actually hear my voice now. That's probably a good thing. Rosenberg found guilty. And Ethel Rosenberg opened the New York trial was effectively defeated testimony from David Greenblatt, who was earning certificate information up to the serious prize through Jules Rosenberg. Rosenberg only discovered for the alleged wartime espionage from recent confession of a Manhattan Project scientist. Julius and Ethel are accused of organizing a powerful Soviet spy ring that helped the Soviets quickly end the American nuclear monopoly. The public is sad to be outraged at how easily the Soviets appear to infiltrate the most secret wartime operations. Senior officers, officials accused the spies of enabling Soviets to rapidly catch up with the United States in nuclear technology. Rosenberg defiantly defied the accusations and are expected to plead the Fifth Amendment on trial. Your Korean missile program, just doing the one state thing. You'll find the LEA. I've done that stuff. So, get transistors, wait no, electric current decryption. Get the Soviet armed forces. Our military is one of the most powerful in the world when it comes to size. However, it lags in the West level of research and development and in several key areas. Of research development and key areas. Research development and most notably inject technology and a semblance of a proper navy. Them making for LEA, you're arresting resistors, you're forcing authoritarianism, you're creating a radio network, the Yugoslovenska Radio Televizijska, the television network. Well, you're completing the second-year plan, you're creating Lovchinsk LA9s, you're nationalizing industry, you're beginning purges. And you are now reinstating Wehrmacht generals. Still not even formed a nation, too. Oh, Liaqua Ali Khan is dead. In a sudden tragedy, beloved Pakistani Prime Minister CWIC Ali Khan is gunned down by Rawalpindi today. He is addressing citizens in the park when a gunman struck police officers immediately returned fire, killing the assassin identified as Said Khan, an Afghan national. The government has investigated his motives, but it appears this was an act of his third individual not occurring through in the country. Respect the Afghan plot. The nation has already said it would have been more of a message if Secretary arrived neighbour, leading politician in both Pakistan and the Prime Minister. The Quit Ali Khan leaves behind a wife and 3 kids. Oh yeah, Afghanistan doesn't fall to a coup, and the Barzakis are still around. That's good. Well done. Now go back out there. Go there. The Great Red Terror, I've already done this one before in the previous video, so I'm not doing it again. Failed coup in Thailand when the Navy attempted to coup the government of Philbun Songkran. The army-led coup group a clique of 40 junior officers who were forced to retirement by Prithvi Pramonyong, a Thai Prime Minister, began to political movement, established a larger military cabinet. In the aftermath of the Navy attempted coup, political battle ensued between civilian and military leaders, positions, government and the coup group attempted to persuade the King to allow further military voice in the election. The more military government officials, which did not prove fruitful, something meaning about the coup group who later discarded as the attempt to make their move being deterred, followed by Philbun Songkran, who pressured the coup group to refuse to budge, ordering the rest of half the group, while the other half were extremely desperate. The coup soon came to French police as the King of Thailand returned home after a trek at Lasien, where the remaining officers surrendered. Where they were arrested, subsequently imposed 8 positions in the town, and it appears the course failed. What's their name? Still can't do you yet. The Soviet Army, the Red Army, is the last in combat when it smashed the Wehrmacht and Berlin to its and brought Berlin to its knees. When the eternal glory of the Second World War, however, we cannot rest on our laurels as warfare is ever-changing as so must we. You're still not Mongolia trying to get a recognition campaign. You're trying to restore the dismantled steel plants. You're murdering trade unions. You're establishing the GRD, whatever that is. You're launching raids on fascist resistance. You're getting Soviet MiGs. You're relaxing censorship. You're established the Labour Youth Union. You're deepening trade relations with the Soviets. You're establishing gulags. You're doing propagandizing Mustafa should be. And you're actually getting your leader, Premier Ahmed Tawfiq. That's actually good. There's that good smile of his. Kim Koo's been assassinated, although they really haven't done this very well. Who the hell is Kim Koo? Not there. Is this a South Korean thing? The guy sounds Korean. Who knows? I don't know what services there are, but I don't see them. Begin mass production of T-54s. The T-54 will remain battle tank in our latest MBT. Design is far more superior to any American tank in production. This being our army will increase our technology edge over the rest. King Farouk goes to France. The King returns to Black France. We've seen this one before. I think we've seen this one before as well. Turkey legalizes queer marriage. Surprising news comes out of Red Turkey as Program Minister Gazindino announced multiple queer right laws has been passed by Turkey's Supreme Soviet. The Socialist Republic will now allow courts to grant same-sex unions, abolish discrimination in sexuality, religious institutions, and finally allow openly homosexuals to participate in both the Turkish Communist Party and the National Workers' Army. This will brought the discussion of sexuality into the limelight across the Eastern Bloc, and many expect a queer spring to echo throughout the socialist world, as many give on how to speak out. Progress. I mean, technically, the Soviet Union did legalize the same-sex relationships until Lenin died and Stalin decriminalized it. Other than making gay people a thing, but now condemning the Ottoman Empire. Hopefully after that they actually get the leader, Safid Kusun. While that happens, there's a detribalization campaign in Kurdistan. The Ministry of State Security is going to be empowered in Greece. So Keke is going to Bulgaria. The People's Volunteer Guard is being set up in Albania. Literacy campaign in Yugoslavia, Persian counter-revolutionaries in Romania, periodically paying patriotic loans in Hungary, the Czechoslovak armed forces are being made, the imprisonment of Gomulka, wherever he is, and expanded paramilitary operations. Finally, it's 1952. Still not September, but we have 12 minutes remaining on the zero, so hopefully we can get there. Hopefully. I don't know what it means by upgraded state, but there you go. Rapid adoption of the AK-47. AK-47 is the latest brilliant design to come from Mikhail Kalashnikov. That's why the K is for the Kalashnikov, and it's the most. It's a beautiful assault rifle with the an innovative design yet so cheap to manufacture, we need to stop producing this right away. His Majesty, the death of George the Sixth, His Majesty George VI, King of the United Kingdom of the British Domain, and the final Emperor of India, has been found dead in his bed in Sandringham House, Norfolk, this morning, after almost 2 years of declining health. Though he was the second in line after his brother Edward the Eighth, the founding of King of the British Empire, at the brink of what would soon be the Second World War. Throughout the war, King Charles' presence boosted the morale of his subjects and found both at home and in front. On the front, his daughter Elizabeth ascended Queen Elizabeth II, making a hasty return for the funeral from abroad, God save the Queen. The 6th Olympic Winter Games, held in Oslo, Norway, last week, as the 30 countries showed off their best athletes. Norway was hoped to hold the 1948 Fifth Winter Olympics, though due to World War II, the IOC hoped to hold the annual Olympics after the Second World War ended. The IOC decided that the 5th Winter Games of St. Maurice in Switzerland was celebrated Oslo, with Norway hold in 6th Winter Games. Norway earned first place with 50 medals, while the United States as second with 2 medals, with 11 medals, and Finland third place with 9 medals. The next Winter Olympics was announced to be Cortina, Italy in 1956. Success! Alright. Come on, baby, let's make it to September. You're returning the rolling mills, still not finding your actual country. My god. You're modernizing MPF, you're nationalizing banks, you're completing a 3-year plan, you're establishing penal prisons, you're expanding the TW PNRA, or TW's pioneers, you're doing coastal defenses, you're modernizing agriculture, you're executing expected special operation. I forgot what E stands for, agents. You're declaring a new era in Turkey, and you're securing the supremacy of the Kurdish Workers' Party, or the Partiya Karakan in Kurdistan. Now you're constructing infrastructure through the Taurus Mountains. Radio Free Europe now exists. The National Committee for Free Europe, or NCEFE, recently launched a new radio station called Radio Free Europe. The new station will broadcast across Europe and be iconic about communist propaganda. The CIA controls the NCEFE, whose many communists who support the effort. Radio Free Europe will broadcast accounts from refugees who have escaped communist regimes, and the station will be widely reported across the United States as a strong response to the rising communist threat. Interesting. Alright, that's done. expanded the VDV. The VDV is an elite paratrooper branch of the Army where tactics, strategies of their use are still being formed. Airborne soldiers are still good to have around. When is actually the Korean War? I need to check it out. I go synchronize, get renewables. Operation Passage to Freedom, an agreement end the fighting and divide the state. Gunner Galley. Fighting in Vietnam, divide the state into two governments. Here's 300-day period in which the local population can freely move out of the nation. Both the French and now South Vietnamese governments, the number of refugees will be limited, but the number is much more than 10 times the estimates. Many Catholics feared communists and anti-religious doctrine, and sought to move south, straining for resources. The United States had decided to step in and help evacuation in what was called freedom. In addition, providing ships and planes to the United States, also providing much needed aid to refugees. The operation is a huge propaganda success and propaganda victory for South Vietnam. The United States, they appoint massive numbers of refugees as a clear indication of the preference of people of Vietnam having non-communist rule. Interesting. America condemns British interference in Iranian affairs. The Prime Minister has directed the State Department to criminalize British involvement in Iranian affairs. The United States continues to condone such blatant interference and risk inflaming tensions in the region, in which also loses Western prestige amongst post-colonial states. The CIA is being directed to cut off any cooperation with the British over intelligence operations in Iraq. British insists to current course it will have to do so on its own. Alright. The Korean War started in 1950 and is supposed to end in a year from now. So that's, well, years straight, it's supposed to be in July, but yeah. So it should have started already. Encryption technology found. Magnetic memory. Get this out of grenade. Three minutes remaining. Increased Soviet anti-air defense. In addition to our aircraft ground anti-air units are also responsible for the defense of our skies. Including such units will in turn increase our defense capability. God damn. You know what? Alexa, stop timer.
1 hour timer cancelled.
I'm gonna go all the way to... As I was trying to say, I'm going to go all the way up to September. So I can actually do this focus tree, focus, after that I'll probably do this one, and then I'll call this video adieu. So once that's done, so be it. The Lutron invasion. In recent weeks, reports from Cuba indicate over 1,000 Cuban and Dominican revolutionists who are undergoing training exercises in preparation to invade the Dominican Republic. This fourth part of the Caribbean Legion is said to be interested in ending the rule of Rafael Trujillo and restore democracy in the Cuban Republic. The Dominican Republic. Cuban authorities have done nothing to stop the preparation leading criticism from the Dominican government after the United States put pressure on the Cuban government to rescue the Caribbean League fighters and in plot through. Within days, the authorities were released from jail. Initial lack of effort to quickly release prisoners said to inferior Trujillo. But why? No one will truly know. Oh, Libya's a country now. That's good. Damn it. Damn it. Can't do any of you. Still can't do you. That's the next goal to get. Socialist Austria. Can't do any of you. Can't do any of you. Soviet Navy. The Soviet Navy is small, weak and outdated. Without even a carrier to your name, we cannot hope to match the Americans on the high seas. However, we cannot ignore our surface or submarine fleet entirely. Our allies are, you're drafting a secular legal system. You've actually got your leader, Saflik Sun, didn't see that, and you're trying to recruit, what's his name? Ismet Inuru. You're really very light industry and for monarchy. Still nothing doing there. Your reversed course on Protovolgarska. You're establishing a naval academy. You're giving aid to drought-stricken farmers. You're allowing extrajudicial proceedings. You're dealing Soviet equipment. Your domestic mechanized production. You're creating the ZSL farming lane, basically. And you're investing in tool manufacturing. Now you're selling the People's Police. The 15th Olympiad has been held in Helsinki, Finland. Past week, and dozens of athletes come to show off their abilities. Summer sports, Helsinki was selected to host 94 games on the 12th Olympiad after Tokyo could no longer host it because of World War II. Even then, Helsinki could not host it. That due to War II reaching them, and then 94 Summer Olympics were cancelled. This is the most northern city hosting the Summer Olympics. United came first with 76 medals, the US softball with 71 medals, in second place in Hungary with 42 medals. Next Summer Olympics have been announced to be held in Melbourne, Australia in 1956. The 15th Summer Games were a success. Indian annexation of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. During the War II, Andaman and Nicobar Islands were under occupation of the Free Indian Army and the Japanese patrons. They administered the island as part of Free India. After the war surrendered to British Indian forces, while independence India declared its intention to see all Indians liberated colonialism and given the choice of joining in the Union. However, during the period, they stated its intent to move all Anglo-Indian and Anglo-Burmese to the island and give them independence. However, this plan was proved impossible to implement, but was still among Indian leadership to end any dispute of the size of the island. The England officially announced the annexation of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands into the Indian Union, plus private island education and development. Unsurprising. The Bulgarian Communist Party decided to reverse its policy, the post-war War II policy in regards to the Persian Macedonian region. The Soviet leader, Joseph Stalin, has instructed Bulgaria to offer cultural autonomy to the region and recognize the population as Macedonian. This was on Bulgaria's state initiative policy to decline residents of Macedonian, possibly moving other declared Macedonians to the region. or certain age cultural identity. Opponents of this party were arrested and declared fascist by the same many residents in every region, as noted as Bulgarian speakers of the Bulgarian Church. The motivation for Macedonianization were plans to make a federate with Yugoslavia, with the government even directed census authorities identified the majority of the Macedonian to bridge with the neighboring Yugoslavian Macedonian region. However, these plans had ended due to Yugoslavia splitting with Moscow and the region being called Bulgaria once again. Not surprising. I think there's still, there's still part of our sphere now. They're making us University of Skopje. Unsurprising. So, by the Protiv of Bulgarska Polski, Perium Macedonia is still part of Bulgaria. I think it's supposed to be this region around here. That's happened to get this. There we got the Vostok. So now I can launch unmanned array into orbit. And once that's done, get unmanned moon flyby. So, come on, bulkhead next. The hell? The Albanian subversion. Over a few months, the People's Socialist Republic of Albania has been fending off guerrilla attacks from the organized war-trained Albanian expats through freedom fighters. For fiercely, they have been countered in every turn, likely due to part traded in the mess. Over all whose had post-Oxford's new state and failed to revolt, been shot, hanged, jailed. Well, it's rather unspoken as it with expats were trained, it is most certainly controlled by Western saboteurs. Don't forget, you're here forever. So what's happening in your game? Air Force, you're doing repatriation for Iraq and Iran, that's probably not going to do anything. You're opening investigations into party officials, you also tell local Greeks to look at governments. You're reverse that policy, you're now getting heavy industry investments, you're getting Lachiga LA9s, you're making a Skopje, you still own Skopje, so it's probably somewhere in Nice. You're purging Georgia Dej, you're adopting the AK-47, you're getting Soviet T-55 tanks, you're importing T-55 tanks, you're getting Volkspolice, and now you're reorganizing your aerial fleet. Still not doing good endeavor. Where's the fact? Whatever fact. Still August, it's not September, so yeah. Project 30 bis. Project 30 bis is the name of a modern and the top of the line destroyer, which will greatly enhance our Navy's escort capabilities, and we will invest in it heavily. That we succeed. Sorry about the first half or so of this video. The audio was probably terrible, or you didn't have audio other than my voice. The fall of General Secretary Georgiou Dej is now Anna Porker. The Muscovite faction is still in power. Alright. Although fall of General Secretary George Dage. Although Stalin had been backing his ally in his new infantry, wings are now changing from the Socialist struggle in Romania under Georgiu Dage. And this, his opposition is crushed the record and has been rewritten, and however his aggressive anti-Semitic campaign against Annapolis more moderate policies have drawn more attention than he preferred. The idea that maybe he is not the most stable ruler of the Socialist Republic of Romania has spread all levels of communist thought. Annapolis has spearheaded the armed removal of the parallel Georgi Dage, and the support of Stalin through the disgraced First Secretary has fortified himself in office, declaring all who stand against him traitors. He was successfully removed and changed. Now George Dage has been imprisoned, and Apollos declared himself the new First Secretary with the backing of Joseph Stalin. So she's second secretary. So, that was Jewish migration. That's here. So the Jews migrated to Romania. The Kori dynasty in Lebanon has collapsed, even though they're still in power. Probably changing, I think. It's September. In currently 8 p.m. in Beirut, Libya, Lebanon, where multiple regime officials are clearly integral portion of the ruling Kori regime has collapsed on itself. President Bashar al-Assad of Lebanon was for his strong nationalistic views in anti-French settlement in the 1940s, famously imposing legislation that sought to equalize both Christian and Muslim minorities regarding cultural rights. Kori regime is one of the great controversies. Initial short-term intelligence reports from the CIA suggest that the coalition particularly spearheaded the scene in Egypt to renew the plans to overthrow the president regime. Many dissidents who opposed both appealed to the French and US governments, essentially which is possibly overthrown the president. Whether it be political or military means, the Pentagon officials have yet to respond with official statements to those requests. Interesting. Screw you. The 19th Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. 19th Congress of the Communist Party finally concluded we should together discuss the success of our nation. The Swedish Social Democratic Party, or SAP, continues its legislature by winning a large number of seats in the recent election, and it is expected to form a coalition with the other left-leaning parties, including the Farmers' League Party, liking in its victory to the confirmation that the Swedes embraced the vision of a nation as the power people's home, with all its citizens working together and grow. The SAP sorry general elections since 1920, and its victory was not a complete shock. Through the opposition managed to gain a few more seats. Interesting. Arrest Barrier's plea for treason. Lavrenti Barrier, whilst a useful henchman will carry out schemes, has lately gotten too many notions of grandeur. It's time for him to step down. You're assassinating tribal leaders, you're bringing ground force army, investigating stuff, you're doing infrastructure, you're rejecting Stalin's economics, you're letting less of World War II, still immigration, planning industrial hubs, civilization of Czechoslovakia, British Soviet doctrine, and continued border reforms. Vasily Sokolovsky, you need to stop them control themselves. get it, you know, but don't have that, but still, you need to do it. All right. So, is that it? Okay. So I'm gonna and modernize the Black Sea shipyards, while the dockyards on the Black Sea are many that are quite outdated and inefficient. Prestige change and soon. Don't die. If it won't die till next year. It actually died a few months before the Korean War ended, so that's surprising. So before I officially end this video, I'll go over what our satellites and stuff are doing. Germany, they still haven't got a government, and you're still doing some random reforms. In Poland, you're embracing Soviet doctrine, you're Sovietizing Czechoslovakia, industrial hubs, you're rejecting Stalin's ideals, you're doing less for World War II, you're buying Soviet tank models, industrial infrastructure investments, you're expanding airfields in Ankara, and you're beginning public executions. So with that, I call this video due. So hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. This is Mountain Limited signing off. Wait, before I do sign off, T-Debug, tag KPA. Want to check something out. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. You haven't even started on this. What the? You've been doing the Stalinization of North Korea, which I mean, I guess, but you really. So, small thing before I do so. You actually, you know, get your stuff together. B. Tag DDR. Stop that and get a constitution. Tag solve. And that's where we'll end it today. Good. I can see it. You can see it. So I call this video due. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. I believe this video is now over. Hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. This is Martin Limited signing off. Good day, goodbye. Goodbye.